A call from his own number. The phone vibrated violently against the polished wood of his nightstand, the screen casting an eerie blue glow in the dark room. It flashed with 2 words that made his blood run cold. Ethan Cole. He stared at it, his mind racing. A prank? A glitch in the system? What the hell? He muttered, his thumb hovering over the green accept icon. Curiosity, or maybe a strange sense of obligation, won out. He answered. At first, there was nothing but a wall of static, a harsh, crackling sound like a radio tuned between stations. Then, through the noise, he heard it. Breathing. Slow, deliberate, and unnervously close. And then, a voice. A voice he knew better than his own, because it was his own. "Don't answer again," it whispered, a chillingly flat and emotionless command. Before he could process the words, before he could even form a question, the line went dead. He stared at the blank screen, his heart pounding a frantic rhythm against his ribs. The next morning, sunlight streamed through the blinds, but it did little to dispel the unease from the night before. Ethan grabbed his phone, his first instinct to check the call log to find some rational explanation. But there was nothing. No record of the incoming call, no missed call notification, no trace that it had ever happened. It was as if he'd dreamed the whole thing. He shook his head, trying to clear it. Just overworked, he told himself. But a nagging doubt led him to open his voice recorder app. He sometimes used it to leave himself reminders. He scrolled through the files and found one from the previous night, time-stamped just moments after the phantom call. He hesitated, then pressed play. The static filled his ears again, followed by the breathing, and then his own voice, clear as day. "Don't answer again." He was about to shut it off, convinced his tired mind was playing tricks, when the recording continued. A new line had been added, one he was certain he hadn't heard before. "You didn't listen last time either." A cold dread washed over him. Last time? What last time? The recording clicked off, leaving him in a profound and terrifying silence. Over the next few days, the world around Ethan began to subtly unravel. It started with small things, things you could easily dismiss. His favorite coffee mug, which he always left on the coffee table, would appear, cleaned and dried in the kitchen sink. The tiny green light on his laptop camera would flicker on for a moment, then off, even when the device was closed. The most unsettling thing happened while he was washing his hands. He glanced up at the window over the sink, and for a split second, his reflection in the dark glass lagged behind his own movements. He turned his head, and the reflection turned a heartbeat later. He forced a laugh, but it sounded hollow and strained. "I'm overworked. I need a vacation. That's all it is." But the calls didn't stop. Once a day, always at night, his phone would light up with his own name. He never answered again, just stared at the screen until it went silent, his knuckles white as he gripped the device. Each time a new voice memo would appear, short, cryptic messages. "I see you. Stop looking. It's getting closer." The paranoia became a suffocating blanket. He felt a constant presence, the chilling sensation of being watched. He couldn't focus on work. He barely ate. Sleep offered no escape, filled with dreams of a shadowy figure that had his face but empty, dark eyes. Finally, pushed to his breaking point, he made an appointment with his therapist, Dr. Monroe. He sat across from her, the words tumbling out in a rushed, frantic torrent. The calls, the recordings, the moving objects, the lagging reflection. He laid out the whole impossible story, half expecting her to call security. Dr. Monroe listened patiently, her expression calm and unreadable. When he finished, she leaned forward slightly. "Ethan," she said, her voice gentle, "do you believe it's possible that your mind is splitting? That the stress and the isolation are causing you to create another version of yourself?" Ethan stared at her. "So what? You're saying I'm calling myself? That I'm the one moving my own coffee cup?" Dr. Monroe offered a small clinical smile. In a way, yes. Perhaps a part of your subconscious, a dissociated part, is trying to warn you about something, trying to protect you. He left the session feeling more uneasy than when he'd arrived. The idea of his own mind turning against him was somehow more terrifying than any external threat. That evening, as he sat in his darkened living room, there was a knock at the door. Not a loud, demanding knock, but a soft, tentative one. His heart leaped into his throat. He crept to the door and looked through the peephole. Nothing. The hallway was empty. He let out a shaky breath, turning away from the door, and that's when his phone buzzed on the table. Incoming call. Ethan Cole. This time, rage eclipsed his fear. He snatched the phone and answered, shouting into it, "Stop calling me. Leave me alone." The voice on the other end didn't shout back. It was calm, steady, and chillingly close. "I'm outside." And then another knock, louder this time. A solid, definitive rap against the wood. He scrambled back to the peephole. He saw nothing but a shadow, a fleeting shape moving past the lens. Panic set in. He ran through the apartment, locking the deadbolt, latching the chain, securing every window until his home was a fortress. Breathing heavily, his back pressed against the wall, he caught his reflection in the bathroom mirror. And he froze. His reflection wasn't mirroring his terror. It was smiling. A slow, cruel smile spreading across its face. "Told you not to answer again," the reflection said, its voice echoing in the small room, but its lips in the mirror didn't move. And then, the impossible happened. The reflection moved first. It took a step forward, its form shimmering like a heat haze, and stepped right through the glass, out of the mirror and into the room with him. The next morning, neighbors called the police, reporting a night of horrifying screams. The officers found the apartment door unlocked. A single coffee cup sat on the counter, still warm to the touch. On the floor lay a smartphone, its screen cracked. It was still recording. A faint, distorted whisper could just be heard from the tiny speaker. He finally listened. The apartment was empty, but if you looked closely at the bathroom mirror, you could just make out a faint figure standing within the glass, its face frozen in a permanent, triumphant smile. Sometimes the voice trying to warn you isn't from someone else. It's from the part of you that's already gone. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Let me know in the comments what you think happened to Ethan. I'll see you in the next one.